Hi, this is Eva for Once Upon a Timeline. Welcome, everybody. I see a lot of people are in already. Let's see who is here. I see Pugsley Lovejoy left $2. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Very much appreciate it. That was the early super chat for today. We have Adam Ant, Kai Lucas Zachary, Transcend 111, Mandela 108, Janice Windsor, Data Junkie, Ghosty 333, Shari D, Hesham Ibada, Kilcook Monty, I think that's most, Omega Man, Maria, Sapioid, Space River News, Leopoldo Garza, Strawberry Time. Lots of people in today. My voice, Shari mentioned my voice is almost back. Yeah, I'm almost normal, but my ears are still pretty plugged. They are getting better, but the last time I had this too, the last time my ears were plugged, it makes everything sound weirdly high pitched and robotic. So everybody sounds like robot chipmunks. So it's weird. Even my own voice, it kind of makes me nuts. So every time I open my mouth, I'm like, ah, what's that noise? I bought it from Bob is in. Thank you. Miss Chrome Sticks. David Cook. Lots of people in today. All right. So I saw you guys were talking about the Rainbow Mountains in China. Okay, so here are some of the pictures of them. But I didn't, there's a caveat to these things, which I'm going to bring up a bit. Now, they were talking about there being other mountains in Iceland now. It almost looks like this is more like weird greenery growing here. Two colors, dark and reddish. These ones might be a bit more realistic. I've actually driven over areas that had some weird green dirt like that. Alright, Colored Canyon in Nueva Sinai, Egypt. Weirdly, I remember there being some canyons like this near me in Anza Borrega Desert. I was always going to go up there next year. Now they're not there anymore. It looks like they've moved to Arizona or something. So, very similar to this, maybe not quite as high. So I'm kind of bummed. I guess they're not in my timeline anymore. It's weird. All right, so let's see. Where's this? Peru. Call Mountains in Argentina. So a lot of people don't remember there being Rainbow Mountains. This has come up a lot, and this one is kind of, it's the one time where I thought that these might become brighter. They look really bright, but here's the issue. Oops, that's not it. This one's the one I want next. So I believe that these have just had very strong color alteration in the Photoshop. You could basically just crank up all the colors, and it's really easy to do. I think this is how they really look. This is from, I also checked a bunch of actual Chinese news sites of people who are actually there. And this is what they, as best I can tell, this is more like what they look like with ordinary color filters on your photo. So not nearly, yes, there's layers, but they're not like all rainbow like that. So, I don't know, I was thinking maybe they would get brighter with time. It just goes to show you it's very hard to tell what's what on the internet. Best I can tell, though, this is what they really look like. So then you have to wonder about the rest of these. Everybody wants clicks, clickbait, blah, blah, blah. So I'm not sure how bright these are. It does pay to do some research on these things. So I just wanted to bring that up. So that's the Donchia region. So see, if they're just like that, you could see why they weren't like global phenomena. They're neat, but, it's not like crazy. Alright, now this one I got on Reddit. Just saw it. The lightning is getting like slower and slower. Now you can see this car is driving along. They might have been able to slow it down some, but it seems like the car is moving at a normal pace. There is both a rainbow and lightning. Notice the lack of clouds. I've been seeing a lot of this lately, lightning without clouds. A lot of images of lightning. I'm not saying it never happened in my old timeline, that they always said that lightning could go a long way. But I mean, 99% of the time you would see lightning with clouds, and that is not, it's not 99% of the time anymore, let's just say. So watch how these this lightning linger. It's the slowest lightning I've ever seen. It's getting slower and slower. So then it starts, I don't know if this is a new one, but I mean, look at how slow that is. That is freaking slow. I just want to bring that one up. That one just came up, like, I just saw it today. It looks like it was posted yesterday. Alright. So, get down to the other stuff. Jupiter now has 79 moons. Yeah, that one's a little bit older than me, although I thought it was 78 last time I heard. Alright, so this one here, I just can't get over it. For me, I sound like a robot ant or something. My voice is like really weird to me because my ears are messed up. Where is that one? Where is that one? So I am feeling better. Somebody suggested I try colloidal silver for like sinusitis, so I'm going to try it. You know what? Everything's so different now. The body's so different. Everything that kind of used to hold and how things worked on my body and health-wise doesn't really seem to work now. It's like the whole user guide for this body is different, so I'm not really sure how to tackle problems anymore. Alright, where is that? Okay, I think it's here. Yes, okay. This one was brought in by Christina Gerald. I can't read my own writing. She just mentioned this website that has a ton of really weird fungi. Now, we've seen this one before, but it's so this is actually a fungus, and it looks like a fruit or something. But it's in my opinion gotten grosser. I don't remember it being all black like that. There's a whole bunch of weird ones on here. And we've seen this one before. That's the bleeding rock. That's an older one. This one's a new one. I almost put this one as the thumbnail. Auricularia oracles, known as jelly ear. So that's a fungus that grows like in the shape of an ear. Now that's a new one. I have not seen that one yet. This one really gross. This one has a weird story. Supposedly, if you eat it, you'll be all right unless you drink alcohol within several days. Supposedly, it reacts with alcohol in your system or something. That's extra weird. Typical weirdness of this new timeline. People die from eating ink caps and then drinking. Usually a single mushroom will not do you any harm. Drunken bane. People would drink anywhere from 3 hours to 5 days after eating an ink cap. Well, they'll feel their face start to turn red, their limbs tingle, and their heart starts to run. Then comes nausea, vomiting, and severe cases, heart problems. The more alcohol consumption, the more they suffer. Weird. Alright, another really... Xylaria polymorpha. Looks like fingers. Gross. I don't think I saw that fingers one, actually. I've seen some other ones that look like fingers. It might have been these, but these just look more like fingers. This one's supposed to be edible. Anything that ends with the word esculenta means edible. Gyromitra. Alright, we've seen this before. This is that fungus that takes over insects. Apparently, it's taking them over a lot more. It used to just be a couple of sprongs sticking out. Now it's like the whole thing. Cordyceps. You know, I actually should just take a quick scan and see if they're all that grad. Cordyceps tuberculata. Seems like the the number of protuberances has expanded quite a bit since last time. It used to be like one. First it was one, then it was a couple. Now they're like just totally whitened with these cordyceps. I'm just going to try cordyceps alone now. I think I already mentioned that they're selling these as a food item now, these cordyceps. Cordyceps organic extract. I don't know what they're... They grew this fungus. I don't know what the food is. From Shaman's Garden. So what you can grow them now is I guess you can grow these cordyceps just from, I don't know what, dead organic matter or something? Oh, weird. So anyway, this is supposed to be like the big deal vitamin nutrient thing lately. Wasn't even in my old timeline, and now they're a dime a dozen. They're not that expensive. Look at this. Almost all the cordyceps is like 2/3 of it is like food items now. Last time I checked, there was a few of these, but they weren't that common. Cordyceps and testosterone, the killer fungi. Alright, anyways, there we go. I'm just going to run through some of these. Bird's nest fungi. So there's like a whole bowl, and I have not seen that one yet. This one is just gotten more and more expensive. Bridal veil, it's called. It just wasn't that extensive when I first saw it. This one, it's new to my timeline about 3-4 years ago. Lion's mane. Used to be just a little bit, but it's getting bigger and bigger now. Lion's mane is supposed to be really tasty. And they do supposedly have those around here now. Alright, this one, Clathris archeri, looks like fingers of a zombie hand. More zombie finger looking things. That one's not that. This one I think is actually a seed pod that's been burnt. They don't say what Ascocorin sarcoides, known as jam drops. Yeah, they do look like intestines. I think that's supposed to be another fungus. Expels spores. Very neat one. Amanita. I've seen this one before. Another one of the Clathris. Have not seen that. Green tongues of earth. It does look like that. More grossness. Exidia glandulosa. The butter of the witches. Nice. These are really cool. Craterolus cornucopioides, aka trumpet of the dead or horn of plenty. Yeah, there's the cornucopia from the fruit of the loom, and now it's a mushroom. I'm not sure if I've seen these before. Have not seen those. Very cool. We've seen the glow-in-the-dark ones before. Have not seen these. Those are kind of neat. They look totally fake. Alright, that's all of those guys. Oink. Let's see what you guys are up to over here. Did you see what I said about the quantum? And an angel puts in $5. Thank you. Very much appreciate that. Lincoln Moormill now has a left fist clenched. Alright, it was left. Well, let me just look at that. It was fairly clenched last time I looked. It wasn't clenched though. Let's see what we're at. It does look a little more clenched. Probably gonna regret trying to see this. Ooh, Yeah, you know what? That does look more clenched. It's more off the edge. Huh, interesting. It's got some green splatter on it. What's up with that? Hmm. Oops, goofed up on that one. We want this. Seems like it's giving me the big images again. Not sure what's up with that. Spoke too soon. That hand just does look, it looks a little different. A little bit more than last time. Yeah, it's moved over more off of the chair a little bit more too. As long as he remains seated, I'm cool with him fidgeting. Yeah. That would be pretty weird. Next thing you know, he'll be like squatting. Oh, it's always been a depiction of him getting up from a chair, and it symbolizes his desire to fix the country or some baloney. Oh, and you did two $5 ones, so thank you very much. I appreciate it. I'm just seeing that now. Spoil tips. Google images. Please Google images spoil tips. Boop. Oh, so they're saying it's like they're like slag heaps. Yeah, yeah, that could be it actually. They're just like jumping like leftover dirt, so each one will be different colors. Could be. Could be. Oh, Omega Man eats cordyceps. How long have you been eating it for? It hasn't been in my timeline that long. Mountain of mining waste, and it can erupt. I guess what? It would have chemical reactions, maybe. 2 months for the cordyceps. Oh, okay. Did they doing anything for you? Giant red crazy horse face statue is back. I think we covered that last week or like 2 weeks ago or something. Yeah, I saw that on here like 2 months ago or something. The cordyceps, um, whatever they are, nutritional supplements. Zombie hand. Is it goo hanging there? Yeah, I think so. On those fungus, fungus have gotten slimy. The trees have ears. Yes, that is actually kind of funny. Yeah, they do. Yeah, the ear-looking one. I have not seen that one before. Sometimes Jupiter tops at 82 moons, one to watch. Yeah, maybe it just shifts around, or what are they counting as a moon, or just had dogs outside and moon in the wrong part of the sky again. You know, I've been watching a Mr. MBB333's channel, and there's been watching his channel's weird because he'll have all this weird stuff on, and then he'll just go, "Oh yeah, maybe the Earth is tipping or something," and it's like, really, you're not freaked out? Like, oh, you think he's just observing a new kind of worm or something? The way he talks, it's just weird. I'm like, if you really believe that the earth is tipping, or if some of these so super freaky things are happening, your voice he just goes on like it's nothing. I don't know. It just it makes me crazy sometimes. There's this guy on Redcon that he kind of flips out sometimes on the Emmys. He's like, "What the f? I can't believe this crap." And I always like that guy because I'm like, that's the normal, to me. A normal response is like people going, what, you know, freaking out. I mean, that's the way it should be. All these changes, everybody's just like, meh, it doesn't involve me. I just, I mean, some of us, we've been seeing it for like 3 years or something, so we're mellowing out a little. But I mean, to me, that's the response that's normal. People should be going, what? I think Mr. MBB333 doesn't want to get checkmark on his channel and possibly cut. I don't know. I mean, he's still saying all this stuff. So if he actually changed his voice tone, would that make a difference? Or is he just trying to keep his readership? I don't know. The whole thing is just weird. I don't get it. I mean, the followers are usually more on people who are very animated and excited anyway, so I freaked until I was numb. Yeah, I mean, does anyone remember the reclining Buddha statue in Myanmar? I think I've had that on there before. Yeah, there was a monster one now. I don't remember it. Jet engines now fully in front on the wings in poles. Let's check it out. 740. Let's just look at a 747. Something that looks normal. Like none of these really show. It looks like they're not totally on poles for 747s. They do look weird. To me, you know, the whole airplanes just have a lot bigger wings, and they weren't raked back so much either for my old timeline. Wings used to be really big on those things. I think the current physics just makes it easier to fly. We've got things that can, like frogs and lizards that can run on water. It used to be just water insects only that could. Larger birds, they can carry larger prey. Trying to find one that well, it is pretty far forward. I think it is further forward than last time I looked at it. See if we can get a big image of this one. Oh yeah, it's pretty much off. Every time I do that, I sound like a robot to me. It's making me crazy. Alright. Surprisingly how hard it is to actually find an image that really shows it from the angle you need to see. You need like a total side view, basically. Yeah, I do think they've slipped off more than they were. It doesn't really surprise me. The Emmy likes to work like that, bit by bit, sneak by sneak. Let's see if this one will get large. No, of course not. The one that really will show you what's going on, of course, will not get large. Yeah, it makes me wish I lived by a, look at that one. Yeah, that one's really off. 767. See, all the good images are tiny. Oops. I just saw one I liked, and then I banged my hand. Alright. Here. This one should be big. No, it's not big. That would just be too convenient. Well, anyway, yeah, I do think that they are a little bit more. You can make so Google Images only shows you big images. I'll have to check into that. I think I vaguely remember seeing that. Even the beluga plane photo I made 25 years ago has the engine in front of the wings. Yep. Yeah, I'm not surprised. Of course, the skeptics will just say, oh, it's the new planes only. So if those colorful mountains are spoil tips, who mind them? Yeah, I don't know. Donchia Mountains, I don't think they're supposed to be spoil tips, but you saw they're not as bright as you think. At least not yet. I keep thinking that they'll get brighter, but I'm still seeing the really dull ones. Donchia Mountain spoil tips. And like I said, I have actually seen, I've driven places where I've seen a little bit. It does not look like they're saying it's spoil tips. Just sandy, weird sandy soil. I've been to places that have some of that. They did not look obviously mined in my case when I was there. Sometimes we're just driving around the desert looking for rocks, and so we see all kinds of stuff. Need input to cover the engine changes last year. Yeah, it looks like it's kind of morphed a little more forward since then. But it keeps going like the Energizer Bunny. Yeah, that's how they are. If you've seen something change recently, keep an eye on that, because a lot of times there'll be more changes to come. Especially if you caught the change, like it's a fresh change, you know it hasn't been there long. There's sometimes I see something and I haven't looked at that in years, so it could have changed 3 years ago for all I know. But there are other times when I'm there all the time and I know it's fresh. And when it's fresh, keep watching. Just because they're not saying it's spoil tips doesn't mean they're telling the truth. Yeah, that's true. But like I said, they're really not that bright in real life, so it may be that it is just legit. I have seen mountains like that. The new thing with the moon is it seems higher up and it tends to stay in the same spot. Last night it didn't move from 12:30 to 3:30. Trying to watch it now. I have not been able to really catch it do anything weird, but you really have to have some time to keep watching all the time. Oh, so one of the things I was going to say was that Mr. MBB333's channel, he had a number of images of the daytime moon looking really tiny. And I'm still kind of... Seems like the moon is going away more during the day too. I mean, it went away. It used to be out for me. It was out all night. Used to be. Then it was out half the time during the day. Now at the time when it's out in the day, it got less and less visible, and now it looks tiny or something. It just the old, they always call it like an optical illusion where the moon looks really bigger when it's down by the horizon, and then it looks really smaller when it's out away from any nearby landmarks. And that, I swear that illusion, which they say they don't know how it's caused, is a lot stronger lately. I mean, it looks way big by the by the horizon, and then you'll drive somewhere where you have a different vantage, and then suddenly it'll look tiny. That illusion is really like just stretched, I think, in my opinion. I had an Emmy that freaked me out. I'd never seen colored lightning, and I got a video of red orange lightning that almost looks like laser. Yeah, we've covered the colored lightning a while back. There was some people on here said it's always been colored. Well, not in my timeline, dudes. It was not colored. No colors at all. But of course, it didn't snake along the sky like that either. It's funny you Google spoil tips, but don't go. All right, I'm going to the images section. Spoil tips. Burp. You have demanded. I mean, these don't really look that much like the Danxia Mountains, actually. All right, here. That kind of... That's just a little bit, though. You know, I've been on actually a lot of mines before. Haven't really seen anything that... On the scale of them. I mean, I guess they could have just kept dumping stuff over many years, but... I'd actually expect it to be a little brighter if it was spoil tips, to be honest. That one's just kind of an interesting one, though, because there's so many floating around the internet. This one's kind of interesting. View images. So yeah, who the heck knows? I don't know. Like I said, that's one where I had predicted it would get brighter and brighter over time. It doesn't look like it actually has, though. It still looks totally bland. At least with some of those. The images actually out of China from the tourist industry don't look rainbow at all, even. They just all look like dirt colored. No colored lightning storm, but some of them have been acting strange, like aliens are in them. There's been a lot of weird, like, ball lightning images and stuff. Does a little bit, and the memory after a few years gets vague. All right, but it sounds different. It looks different. Just, you know, not humongously, but that it's different now. Yeah, the moon used to have one orbit where it would go over the center of the sky pretty much. Used to come behind these bushes that I have, and it would... The orbit's different every time now. It doesn't have the same orbit, so even officially, I mean, who knows if it's following the official, but even officially it doesn't. That's another big change. I haven't actually been able to see any colored lightning. I haven't actually been able to see a lot of lightning. I see flashes. And we see flashes, but no thunder a lot, which we never used to get. Yeah, you know, it's long been lore that lightning can zoom over like miles away, but it was super rare, and I never really saw hardly any images online. If you just did a Google search, you wouldn't see it. So yeah, I mean, but lightning, you know, there's a lot of things cause lightning now, like just the smoke from volcanoes and stuff. There's a lot more lightning. Yeah, Carla Redpill also remembers the moon just being out at night. Yeah, it was just night. Dark lightning. Yeah, they have dark lightning now. We had that on a while back. You see lightning going 1,500 miles on satellite. Also, we're getting a lot of images of the red sprites. And the so there was only a few last time I looked. There's a lot of new ones now. Not just from satellites. So this is like a different kind of lightning that goes up, and there's like there's others. See, there's, look at that, just an ordinary image. Actually, I should go to the website. Let me just see when that was taken. Even just from, it's been less than a year, I think, since I've done this. Red sprite lightning above Oklahoma. Sky. I mean, look at that. Wouldn't you just flip your gizzard if you saw that thing? There never was good images like that before. They were super rare. I mean, it looks like it's faked almost. So the sprites and stuff that reverse lightning, and there's hardly even any clouds or anything in there. Look at that. Weird. So this used to be something that was just hypothesized, and a few people had claimed to see it. And then, like about a year ago, suddenly they had all these images of it. Look at that one. I think that's the blue jets, red sprites, ionospheric lightning. So there's tons of images of it now. My timeline, it was mostly a theory. A few people claimed to have seen it, but people were skeptical. Over Hurricane Matthew. Look at just blue skies. Just like tiny little clouds. Resonance in red sprites. It looks like this has grown a lot. Look at that one. Yeah, these have definitely... Well, if I ever see colored lightning, I'm going to die. Well, we all die. Maybe you won't die right away. There's a horizontal beam. Yeah, they're red sprites. Getting more popular in the current timeline. Infrasound pulsations generate red sprites above the pyramids. Blue jets, sprites, and elves reveal higher quantum states of our atmosphere now manifesting in interesting ways. Blah, blah, blah. These radiant arching plumes of plasma appear to have spontaneously ignited at 6 feet above the ground. I don't know how, some of these, I don't know how vetted all these photos are, but the red sprites look to be legit. Oh, boy, there's a lot of them. Okay, so that's developed a lot since last time I looked at it. Sherlock Holmes never said elementary, my dear Watson. Yep, I've seen that one on various YouTubes. I agree that that was in there before. I remember blue and red sprites from my timeline. Yeah, not me. They were just, they didn't have any pictures of them, but they had reports of them from like jet fighter pilots, and that was about it. They weren't verified. Alright, where am I? Alright, so Jewel Wasp, that's what the thumbnail was. This one came from also, I think the same one, yeah, Christina Gerald. Now, I found this image in a number of places. I'm not 100% sure how legit it is. It looks fairly good, but it's hard to tell with Photoshop these days. They called this one a jewel wasp, and I looked them up. I found this one, which is close. He does have... Now, this article is neat because it just says that they're blue with red legs, but this one obviously doesn't have red legs, and he's got red and pink and yellow on his butt. So, this one may be photoshopped or it may be in progress. I wouldn't be surprised if we got that one. This one's close. Alright, so these are fairly new for me, and these are one of these creatures that they zombify. Somehow they inject something into cockroaches that make them into zombies, and then they can control the cockroaches, and they lay their eggs inside the cockroaches, and then the eggs hatch and eat the cockroach. So it's one of these zombie creatures that this timeline loves so much. Wasps. So they're really pretty looking. Alright, let's see what else we got here. Alright, Alright, so John Austin, another commenter, was talking about the Japanese giant salamanders. Let me just go to those first. Japanese giant salamanders. Now, when did I hear about these? Maybe like 6 or 7 years ago. They didn't have any images of small ones at that time. They just had, of large ones. They just had some small ones, and they're rumored to get up to 5 to 6 feet long, but maybe all the big ones are extinct. That's how they used to say it. So now, of course, after that extinct baloney, they actually now have like pet ones that are really big. So this was the biggest salamander in the world, like 7 or 8 years ago, and they're huge. And they get to be like 5 or 6 feet long. Look at how big that one is. Doesn't seem like they're that aggressive. They look very prehistoric. But now, John Austin was mentioning these, but then when I was looking up these, I realized there's now the largest salamander in the world is the Chinese giant salamander. Now, these weren't even around when they first introduced the Japanese salamander. So the Chinese salamander is now the biggest in the world. Let's see if I can find some images. I'm not sure if that is a legit one. That might be like a meme. But they are quite large. So 5 or 6 feet, they can get very large. So these guys just a little bit different looking. Of course, there's the whole spiel about how they're going extinct and all that. You know, they weren't even here, and now they're going extinct. So, I don't know. I think this is the Japanese one here. Let's see if I can get it to be large. Not too bad. The Japanese ones are kind of reddish. Anyway, they look kind of similar to me. I bet that over time they'll start to distinguish themselves more. Seems to be kind of the pattern of things. Alright, I'm going to click on this thing. Is this even legit? Discovered in cave by local fishermen, 200-year-old giant salamander. 114-pound ancient amphibian was literally stumbled upon. It's 5 foot long. Alright, well, anyways, so, yeah, that's a new one anyway. These Chinese ones have shown up more recently than the Japanese ones. Because it used to be just the Japanese ones. Look at that thing, it looks like a giant, I don't know what. There was only the Japanese ones, now we have these Chinese ones. Alright, now, let's tear through Amsterdam. Boink. Alright, so apparently Amsterdam had a bunch of tornadoes. Who was mentioning this one? This was Thomas Larson, because it's kind of near where he lives. He's like, no, we never had.
Cage-free eggs. It's a nice sounding way of saying these.
Kill that till the ad is done. Alright, here we go. Alright, so that's a pretty serious tornado. There's been a lot of up-close images of tornadoes lately. So, yeah, it just seems like tornadoes are going everywhere. Now they have this thing called a land spout. I had not heard of this before. Suddenly that word is everywhere. A tornado that, unlike most tornadoes, is not associated with a mesocyclone of a thunderstorm. The name reflects the fact that these tornadoes look like a weak Florida Keys waterspout over land. The official name dust tube tornado comes from the National Weather Service. Alright, so it's, I guess a land spout doesn't really require a thunderstorm or anything. It could just have ordinary skies. Okay, so Midland land spout. See, look, it just has ordinary skies there. Now, these can still be fairly powerful and somewhat dangerous. So you can basically have a tornado now just almost any old where. They'll call it a land spout. Nice. They also have this thing called gustnado. A short-lived, shallow surface-based vortex which forms within the downburst. Alright. So I've been talking a lot about these downburst phenomena where a cloud comes over and then suddenly there'll be crazy winds underneath it. At first the downburst was just sudden bunch of rain bursting, but now there's like winds and now we have tornadoes. Gustnados apparently from these downbursts. Alright, and one other weird one that I just saw. I think I've seen image of these for a while though. I just wasn't getting what I'm seeing, but a steam devil, which is a little bitty like dust devil made out of steam. This timelines do like their little circular things. Steam devils. Volcanic steam devils by Jeffrey Brown. Photographs. If you just have like a steamy lake, you can have these little steam devils. So I kind of remember just little swirls of steam kind of accumulating, but now they're actually little vortexes of their own. Not a lot of images of these yet. Thinking they might be kind of a new ME. A lot of times when something's new, there's not a lot of good images of it. Steam Devil canvas prints. I think this might be another one of those volcanic steam devils. Oh, there's coal devils. Coal devils. I don't know. I've not heard that one, actually. I just found that right now. Coal devils. This is like a steam devil, but it's made out of coal. Coal devil at the coal storage town of Sagan, Claude, Mongolia. Huh. Alright, so we have coal devils. So I guess it's like a dust devil using the coal. Alright, anyway, so more tornado-like things. Alright. See what you guys are up to over here. Seem how the mud floods seem to have targeted cities and rarely, if ever, villages. Well, the mud flood's supposed to be like hundreds of years old. The villages are not going to have hundreds of year old structures, so you wouldn't be able to see the evidence of pre-mud flood. That's the storyline anyway. I really just wonder if the whole mud flood thing is sort of another story cooked up by the ME. I'm really suspicious. A lot of these changes we're seeing are just sort of making the world more interesting. There's more mysteries. A few of the old mysteries got solved, but then they were replaced by even bigger mysteries. The middle of Europe also gets tornadoes. Yeah, I saw that one in France. Hurricanes worldwide. Reducing the planet's albedo leads to extreme climates. Well, that's the storyline. I think it's just ME. I mean, the albedo didn't make a whole continent disappear, so that's a whole new term, this albedo. I haven't even heard of it before about 2-3 years ago. It's me, Sia's back in. Oh, $20 of SEK. I'm not sure what that amount is, but thank you very much. Now there's electric pink and yellow fish with green fins. Tosanoides. Tosanoides. Ah. A new basslet from deep coral reefs. Mesophotic coral. Neon fish species discovered 2018. And we've already got them in our aquariums. Of course. Can zombie humans be far behind? We've got drugs for that. Crocodile, some of the weird spice drugs, the synthetic drugs. And then we've got that weird cat virus that is said to make people more risk takers. So yeah, those storylines are quite popular in this timeline. Luxembourg had tornadoes. Yep, crazy. Microburst is what it used to be. Yeah, you're right, GPK. It was microburst. Now it's downburst. Good observation. Let me just see what they're going to say. Burst versus downburst. A downburst that spans a distance less than 2.5 miles in diameter is considered a microburst. Huh, the cat just got in here. Somewhere there's an open door. Let me just check how he got in. New mystery of the hour. How did Kitty get in the house? Unless maybe he was hiding the whole time and I thought he was outside. But suddenly he showed up. And he's so cute. I had to put him on the internet. Say hi, Pudgy. You're so cute. Hope you can see him. Oh, he's starting to get mad at me now. Yush. You're mad kitty. Yush. Even when he's mad, he puts up with me. Right, kitty? Alright, he can go. Woo. He's a good kitty. And he gets antsy really fast. He's not a big cuddler of a kitty. Just like 10 seconds of cuddling and then he's done. He's a good kitty, though. Yeah, you always got to have the cute animals on whenever possible. Just drop bath salts from airplanes in the city and you will have mini zombie apocalypse. Yeah, bath salts. There's always some kind of excuse for people acting like zombies. Yeah, I don't know, with the weird illnesses too. I mean, like, I've been fighting it. I'm really just hoping that it is something I could just kick with, like, antihistamines or something. I went down to another place to get some antihistamines, and I was telling the guy, and this young guy, he's like 18. He looks like he lifts weights. He looks really healthy. He's running around the store full of energy, and I was like, my doctor says that he thinks I have like a sneaky sinus infection that keeps making me sick. And then he's like, yeah, me too. My doctor says the same thing. I'm like, he's freaking 18. He should be really healthy, I don't know. I saw someone writing on Facebook that in Canada they digged an intact dinosaur out with skin and everything. I would not be super surprised. It just seems like that's the thing now, where they're finding not just bones, but first it was the mammoths fully frozen. And then they're like, there's wet, soft cells in the middle of the bones. Now there's like this peat bog thing where they're finding them in the peat bogs. I'm not religious, but I read so much different. I never encountered that Adam had a first wife before Eve. Adam had a wife before Eve? Lilith is in the Bible is more of an occult thing, like Jesus having kids with Mary. Huh. Brr, brr, brr. Well, we see that the cat is on there. Alright. I'm like looking at myself talking. Alright. I'm assuming it's not actually in the Bible. A figure in Jewish mythology developed earliest in the Babylonian Talmud. Liz often envisioned a dangerous demon of the night. Huh. Yeah, no, I've heard of Lilith just the last few years, but I had not heard of I have not heard of it being Adam's first wife. According to Midrashic literature, Adam's first wife was not Eve, but the woman in Genesis 1 with Lil. Huh. I don't know. Keep an eye on that one. That one seems to be growing. Boric acid chemical timeline. That's my next buy. Oh, to get rid of bugs in the house, boric acid is good for that. At least it's worked thus far across timelines. And then left another $2. Thank you. I appreciate this. Make sure you don't give me any money unless you have it to spare. That's all I have to say, though, because I'm not like starving to death. So, you know, of course I appreciate it, but I don't want anybody to do anything that is bad for them. EPV and Candida sprayed on America. Expensive remedies are available. Yeah, I'm going to try some of that colloidal silver inhaler stuff. I mean, what the heck? What the heck, you know? Try some stuff. I'm just, you know, at some point you just have to throw stuff on the wall and see what sticks. And I think I'm ready to start just trying stuff. Anything that doesn't sound like it'll likely hurt me, I will probably try it. As long as it's not like a gajillion dollars. Alright, this one. Alright, I'll do this one since I already have it up. This one's really weird. I've covered a little bit in the past how they're talking about how the fetus of a pregnant woman, the fetus's cells can get up the umbilical cord and get into her system, and then her system doesn't reject them. That's what's the weird thing. In my old time, I'm sure that the system would be like, you alien cells, bye-bye, you are an invader. But in this timeline, somehow the woman's system lets these stem cells with the alternate DNA just hang out and survive as normal. Okay, so earlier today, I saw a new step in that. First of all, they have a word for it. It's feto-maternal transfer. Okay. Second thing is, there's some kind of a storyline now that the fetus's cells are actually sent out to help the mother if she has injury. Okay, so there's a study supposedly in 2015. I didn't see anything about this when I was researching it a few months ago, where they took female mice and then they mated them with transgenic mice so that the proteins on the fetus were tagged with the fluorescent. There was a fluorescent protein on the fetus's cells. So if the fetus's cells got into the mother, they could be tracked. And then what they did was they induced cardiac injury to the male, I guess it was a mouse, yeah, the male mouse, and then they tracked to see where these fetal stem cells went, and they said that the fetal stem cells targeted the damaged cardiac cells and fully integrated themselves into the mother's heart. So what they're saying is that basically the fetus is helping keep the mother alive by sending these stem cells out. These stem cells were apparently targeting injury in the mother and keeping her healthy. And the cat's jumping on stuff. Thus potentially uncovering an evolutionary mechanism whereby the fetus assists in protecting the mother's heart during and after pregnancy. Jonard Games just gave SEK $10 of SEK. I'm not sure how much that is, but again, every little bit helps, or every lot helps. So I very much appreciate that. Okay, so this is really, really interesting story. Kitty is all crabby because he's bored and I am not entertaining him. So he's up there meowing. Okay, so this is really weird and interesting spin that I hadn't quite thought of. But if this spin keeps up, then basically they could say that the fetus can help the mother in interesting ways. Very interesting spin. I'm really curious to see where that heads. I don't think we're done with that story yet. My kid has a tooth with too many nerves to be taken out, awake. Never heard of teeth like that before. As for me, born without any wisdom teeth. Strawberry Time was born without wisdom teeth. That's interesting because in my old timeline that did not happen. Everybody had wisdom teeth in my old timeline. This timeline, that was one of the MEs for me, is a lot of people are born without wisdom teeth now. Baby teeth have stem cells. Makes the tooth fairy more scary. Yeah, there's stem cells everywhere now, basically. The story with Lilith seems to be that there were humans on Earth before, but they were not having God DNA. Oh, that's an interesting story. I've not heard that one. Hold on, let me check. We've got a sick person sleeping in the house in the other part, so I'm going to go check on him. No, it's you. You were the bad kitty. You were banging things. Or this is the guilty kitty that made the banging noise. You want to go outside? I'll let you out. All right. I'll let you go. When he wants out, he bangs on doors and jumps on stuff and yowls like a little nut. All right. That's stage 1 of his little tantrum. So I let him out. All right, so where were we? Kitty break. If Adam weren't eaten, then it wouldn't matter if other humans were on Earth. Who knows what's going to show up next? I really don't know on these old storylines. The old storylines are not as exciting as some of these current storylines with these stem cells, though. That's called 6-day creation. He's lucky he ate my cat because I'd hug him all the time. You know, I kind of, when I first got him, he wasn't used to getting hugged. And so I am torturing him by hugging him all the time. But I don't hug him really long so that he can't get too upset. So I'm like, in order to train a cat, you have to be more stubborn than a cat. You ever see how cats, when they want something, they just keep poking at it and trying to get it and they wear you down. And that's how you train a cat. You wear him down. So I hug him all the time. And now he's like, whatever. He's like so bored to death with my hugging that he puts up with it. Sometimes he even kind of likes it now, I think. I think that happened to me. I got heart problems during pregnancy, and the doctor was surprised by my recovery. Could be. I don't know. There's just a lot of weird health things going on. Just a lot. I'm noticing. Oh, wasn't even gonna remember. I almost forgot this. Okay, I talked a bit about narcolepsy the other day, and I realized there's something I didn't notice about how it's changed. Narcolepsy, the now versus narcolepsy, my old timeline. See if I can find out. Basically, in my old timeline, narcolepsy was when it was very rare, and when you'd suddenly fall asleep, you'd be asleep. They always said it was asleep. You were suddenly fall asleep. All right, so I guess in this timeline, when they said asleep, they always had it wrong, and you were never actually asleep. Because in this timeline, what you can have is something called cataplexy. Speaking of cats, has nothing to do with actual cats, to my knowledge, though. But cataplexy is when you suddenly lose muscle function. So you might fall down on the ground, and it will kind of look like you're asleep, but you're not actually asleep because you're conscious the whole time. So you're not actually asleep. But people with narcolepsy don't always have cataplexy. They may have excessive daytime sleepiness, and they have crappy nighttime sleep a lot of times. And this is marked very interestingly by early onset REM sleep. So apparently normal people are supposed to sleep for 90 minutes approximately before they have dreams, which is REM sleep, rapid eye movement sleep. So when your eye's moving rapidly, that's supposed to be REM sleep when you're dreaming. So if narcoleptics will usually, and I've heard a lot of mumbling about this in the Mandela Effect community. That's one of the reasons I'm bringing this up. Narcoleptics will tend to dream much more early than that, like right away, or way less than 90 minutes. So say you took a 30-minute nap, you would have dreams. Now, supposedly a normal person would not have any dreams in a 30-minute nap because they need to sleep 90 minutes to get to dream time. So if you dream real fast, that is one symptom of narcolepsy. Another symptom is, and that's kind of like one of their hallmark symptoms. It sounds like basically they don't see that, they don't think you're narcoleptic. Another symptom is that you sleep crappy, like you either wake up a lot, you can't get to sleep, you sleep, but then when you wake up, you don't feel refreshed at all. Then the story apparently is your brain waves aren't right while you're sleeping, and then you don't get your needed rest. Okay, so then during the day, you're sleepy. Partly probably because you slept crappy, but also because your brain waves aren't quite right for being awake. You've got kind of sleepy brain waves and little sleep episodes hitting you while you're supposed to be awake. So it's like your brain waves are not balanced between sleep and wake. You're supposed to be a certain way when you're asleep and a certain way when you're awake. And then some people will have this cataplexy where they'll suddenly have sudden muscle weakness. They may completely collapse, or they may get sudden muscle weakness. They may get sudden episodes of extreme sleepiness, but they won't actually collapse and sleep. If they collapse, they will be still conscious. So that's the big difference for me. Anyway, it really looks to me like this narcolepsy thing is a big deal for this timeline. Right now they're saying 1 in 2,000, but I bet we're going to find that I'm hearing about it everywhere, and I bet that you are going to hear more about it, and there's going to be more and more people with it. Now, the cause of it is not really known. It might be autoimmune attack on a certain part of the brain, but then who knows? That could be. They've gone back and forth on that one. Another one is, I've been hearing a ton about this one. POTS and a couple other ones, post-orthostatic tachycardia syndrome. Basically, your blood balance is not that good, so you faint a lot. If you get up too quick, you'll faint. There's another one, I don't know how to pronounce it real well, but vasovagal syncope, where your nervous system is too twitchy and you faint easy. So it's sort of like the POTS, except for it's caused by your own nervous system. So you get too excited, you'll faint. This is kind of more like how narcolepsy used to be. You get too excited and you faint. So it's almost like these two illnesses split out from one. So in this one, you faint and you're really asleep. So it's like falling asleep, basically. Unlike the other one, narcolepsy, where you're now conscious. So anyway, vasovagal syncope. Kind of a nasty little one, because basically you can faint really easy. And there can be very minimal stimulus that causes it. I've been hearing a ton about that one, POTS and narcolepsy lately. I suspect they're going to be the diseases for the new timeline. Bentonite clay. I must be narcoleptic or just not normal. I can dream almost immediately. Well, do you feel like really sleepy during the day? That's the other classic symptom. They're basically EDS, excessive daytime sleepiness, is another catchphrase that you'll hear a lot of. I had pain in my right hip, feels loose, had x-ray taken, but doc says nothing wrong. Yeah, you feel sick, but you can't find anything wrong. This is what Dolores Cannon was talking about a lot when she said long ago, before we knew of the Mandela Effect, she said that the shifts would cause this. She didn't really describe it as being as bad as a lot of us seem to be experiencing it. So I had a friend that would completely fall asleep within minutes. Yep. There's another one called hypersomnia, where you're just sleepy all the time and you sleep like 20 hours. So anyway, yeah, you would have to have at least excessive daytime sleepiness, and you would have early onset REM. Those are kind of the two, it sounds like, you've got to have to be narcolepsy. Yeah, you know, a lot of narcoleptics thought that they were just lazy. It's kind of a common thing. Because you don't want to do anything because you're sleepy all the time. You're used to being sleepy all the time, so you don't know how it is to not be sleepy. And then you give they give you the medication, and you feel like a normal person, which is generally stimulants during the day and maybe sleep aids at night. Picasso bug. Have you seen the Picasso bug? You know, it sounds familiar. I think I've seen that. Oh no, I have not seen those. I take it back. Oh, those are cool. Yeah, no, I have not seen that. Oh, very neat looking. They look fake, but you know, everything in this timeline kind of does. Very cool. Let's see if we can get a big image on here. That gives you an idea. That diagnosis impacts driving, but I don't know anyone online who doesn't meet this new narco definition. Yeah, I don't know. You know, I used to sleep and I felt refreshed, and I know in recent years that's going away more and more. They love to have us all medicated on something. Yeah, well, you know, for a long time I kind of managed it, but it's getting hard for me to function, let's just say. So I think I'm going to have to do some stimulants or something, because it's just getting too hard. I got to go to work, pay the bills and stuff. I can't just lay around here all day. All right, gustnado. Pet showing signs of. Oh, okay. All right, I have not gotten that far, have I? All right, here we go. Here we go. No, the treatment for narcolepsy is stimulants. Stimulants. I mean, you can self-medicate with like caffeine. Unfortunately, caffeine doesn't do anything for me. I get no stimulant effect with caffeine alone. I need a little bit more stimulant. I usually use Primatene Mist tablets. I'm experimenting a bit with modafinil. Not too addictive, reasonably safe. Footage of this footage of the oil. Alright, this should be it. Interesting one. I've seen a lot of explosion video lately. When you see a lot of the same video over and over, not the identical one, but just like a theme. If there's a theme, I think it pays to just kind of look at it with a critical eye. This is what I really see in this, and I'm seeing more of this. It's the explosion is up there in the clouds. I mean, it used to be you'd have an explosion down here and then clouds would billow out. But I'm seeing a lot more where the explosion itself is where all the color is. Like, it's up here in the clouds. These clouds are on fire. These clouds are bursting. I'm just seeing more and more of that. So it's not really super big deal, but I'm seeing a lot of that now. That's just different than how I used to see it. Are you on a CPAP? No, I don't have sleep apnea. My breathing is fine. Heart rate doesn't change. I don't snore. So I don't grind my teeth. None of the usual sleep apnea. That's one thing that it could be. Instead of narcolepsy, it could be sleep apnea. In my old timeline now, sleep apnea was when the throat would kind of close and block the airways. But sleep apnea in this timeline, there's a lot of different versions of it. So it's kind of interesting. I used to take tramadol and it gave me energy. Now I'm off of it. I'm tired all the time. Oh, I didn't know tramadol was any good as a stimulant. I thought it was just like a painkiller, actually. Tramadol. Is it a stimulant? Euphoria comparable to heroin, even at a dose of 75. It acts as a stimulant, but recreational users are quick to point out that tramadol doesn't come with the cognitive impairment of oxycontin. Interesting. So it is a stimulant. Huh. Suppresses opioid withdrawal. So it's like a mild stimulant. Huh. You might want to try some of the other just straight stimulants that are really mild and not very addictive. There's a few out there. Ephedrine, caffeine, of course, modafinil, yohimbine, a couple others. Obviously, researcher stuff really good. I'm going to try a few of those, I think. You know what? I just don't. I tried being a good girl for a couple of years, but it's just not getting any better. Taking this med is the closest I've been to appearing drunk. Yeah, you're trying to find something that makes you, like, normal. I'm from your timeline. All our memories match up. You'll be 39, so I'm like approximately 10 years older than you. That's interesting, though, that you are 10 years younger and still remember, like, Arctica and stuff, I guess. Central sleep apnea is when your brain forgets to breathe. I have obstructive sleep. See, there was no central sleep apnea in my old timeline where your brain forgets to breathe. What kind of brain forgets to breathe? I mean, think about that. That's just weird. It's a really weird nervous system thing. Really weird. Anyway, I'm like looking into getting some sleep testing done over in Mexico, where it won't cost me jillions of dollars. They do have a sleep clinic over there. I'll have to see how that goes. Anyway, I guess it's possible I could possibly have that central nervous system sleep apnea. I don't think so, though. I don't know. I'll just have to have it tested, I guess. I do have the really rapid onset REM, which is more narcolepsy. I mean, really, really rapid. I mean, if I sleep 10 minutes, I'll have like 5 dreams or something in that 10 minutes. I'll dream like... That's actually kind of makes me laugh, the 90-minute thing. There's no freaking way. A hiker in Taiwan found a translucent snail with horns and rainbow colors. Did he take a photo of it? I'd like to see it. Oh, I think that's that zombie snail. Those have been on. The zombie snails. They're taken over by a parasite. This timeline loves this storyline. Yeah, see, there's parasites in there. So the story is that the parasites take over the snail and make it go out in the open, and the parasites make all this flashing stuff, which attracts birds, and the birds eat the snail, and the parasites need the bird as part of their life cycle. And so yes, this is the zombie snails. I'm sure of it. I'll play it for a sec, but I'm sure this is zombie snails. That's how they look like. Now I'll tell you something that's changed. Yeah, that's zombie snails. That there's a lot of movement in the neck region. It used to just be the these are pushed out eye stalks, basically. They're not really horns. There's a lot of visible movement in the neck region now. That has changed since when I first did a video on these zombie snails. So that one is still developing. Yeah, talking about thyroid. Yeah, that's another one I was looking into. I don't really seem to have the symptoms of thyroid. Also, it can come and go really fast. It doesn't seem to be like your thyroid hormone's not going to be like bad at 3 o'clock and then fine at 5 o'clock. So it didn't really fit the thyroid one, but I do want to have that checked. Golden milk with turmeric in this timeline. You know, my system doesn't really like milk. It doesn't like dairy that much, so I don't do a lot of dairy. I just do coconut milk mostly. My muscle relaxant make me wobbly. The tramadol didn't do that. Yeah, I don't do good with sedatives. I stay away from those. I don't think my system likes that. I think I already have too much sedation going on, so... See, I don't really have a big problem falling asleep. It's just I close my eyes. I'll fall asleep in a reasonable time. I will dream right away, and I will wake up and I won't feel rested a lot of the time. Sometimes I'll feel rested, but a lot of times I won't. It's not that I can't sleep. It's just that whatever I'm doing when I'm asleep is not making me rested. And supposedly it's your brainwaves aren't right or something, which is not much of a answer. Why are your brainwaves not right? So they're thinking there's some chemical imbalance or something. Being a redhead, they have to use a mallet to dock me out for surgery. Yeah, that's interesting. Actually, I don't go under very easily either. I've only been under once when I was a kid for a tooth, but they did not get me under very well. The gliding lizard. I think we've had the gliding lizard on before. They've got all those pretty... They just had the kind of wings, and then they got the giant cresty thing. Let's see if that's the one I'm thinking of. Yes. They've got all different colors. They're like little mini dragons. Next thing you know, they'll be spitting out fire. Cute little guys. Oh, now that was another thing. They're getting like weird things underneath the, whatever they call those. They're not wattles. I don't know what they call them in lizards. Oh, look at that. Look at that thing underneath the neck. That's a lot more extreme than the last time I checked. Come on, people. They had things on their head. When they first came out, they just had the wings, but now they're getting all kinds of weird junk. So many variations of them. Red-bearded bee eater. Alright, so that's a bird, I guess. Yeah, anyway, they're really cute little mini dragons. I think a lot of people have had these on their channels as Emmys. Alright, so where am I? Where am I? Where am I? Got you. Alright, we're almost done. There's only two. Two left. Alright, so Florida panthers and bobcats showing signs of poisoning and neurological damage. Basically, they're saying that these two species of cats are showing weird gait problems with the back legs. They can't figure out what's causing it. One thing that I found real interesting is that's not an Emmy per se, but I've noticed that they're showing a lot of images of clusters of cougars walking together. They're calling them panthers. As far as I know, these are mountain lions or cougars. I'm not sure why they're calling it panthers. Florida panthers. Actually, I should look into that. Aren't they just cougars or mountain lions? I've not heard them called cougars and Florida panthers. The Florida panther is a North American cougar. The body structure seems longer than the cougars around here. I'm wondering if this is going to be a separate species because they're calling them panthers. They look a little different. How many panthers? Why are they calling them panthers? There are only 120 and 130 Florida panthers left in the wild. I don't actually really remember Florida having panthers, but I'm not from Florida, so I'm suspicious on this, though. You know, they talk about this problem they're having, but they're inserting a bunch of other info in there at the same time. So they show these panthers, to me, they're cougars, walking. One thing I noticed is they're walking in a group. We're always taught that cougars are kind of lone, solitary animals. Once they're past, kind of adolescence, they go out on their own. They have their own territories. But here they show like 3 or 4 of them walking together, and some of them are stumbling on the back legs more than others. Playing this thing is a real pain, and I don't know what their copyright status is on it. But basically, there was that strikes me as weird right away, that there's 3, 4 panthers, cougars walking together. Who knows what's going to pan out with this stumbling disease? They're going to find some new weird disease that's super weird, new timeline, weirdo stuff. But also we've got, what's the difference between a cougar and a Florida panther? It's still the same cat. Puma concolor, largest of the cat species. Alright, so I don't know. Keep an eye on this. I'm just wondering if they're going to be like a subspecies. That's probably where they'll go next with these panthers. I'm just really suspicious about though. Yeah, cougars aren't super aggressive. It's very rare that they attack humans, so it's really not worth worrying about. You're more likely to get lost and die of heat stroke or something than a panther eating you. So yeah, we have them in California. I know that. Cougars, mountain lions, cougars. I've just not heard them called panthers. I have heard them called pumas. I have not heard them called panthers before, and I've not heard them being in Florida. Capital Lake closed due to invasive snail, which clones itself to reproduce. Oh, this timeline loves that cloning business. You don't need males anymore. The females can just clone. I'm sure that the males pretty soon will learn how to clone too. Add garlic and onion. You know what? We have garlic and onion all the time. And it's, real onion and the mashed up garlics. So, I don't know. Yeah, I eat fairly healthy. That's why I don't feel like there's a lot of room for lifestyle changes anymore. I don't drink. I don't smoke. I'm not on any weird drugs other than, like, lately the stimulants. I don't have any known health problems. I could probably lose a few pounds, but I eat pretty healthy. I sleep as much as I can. My life is not overly stressful, except for maybe the Mandela Effect. I can't do anything about that. I don't really see a lot of room for improvement, so I do exercise a couple times a week. I'm pretty okay shape. My muscles are decent. My cardio is decent. Maybe those cougars are 3 adolescent siblings soon to venture out alone. I don't know. There was 4 of them. A lot of the other videos showed the same thing. So I'm a little suspicious because we've also seen the bunching up of groups and other lone animals. Like first it was the lions. The more and more males got together. And now the cheetahs. The cheetahs are acting totally different now. So I'm suspicious the cougars are also going to get more social. Coffee and tea are my only drugs. You know what? Caffeine doesn't work on me, so I sometimes drink tea. I don't really drink coffee. What's the point? It doesn't really taste good. I get no stimulant effect from coffee, so it's kind of useless. I used to drink a lot of Diet Coke. I quit a couple years ago. Wolves are getting really big. Yeah, I've noticed that. It seems like the other thing that's getting really big are bison. I mean, they were big before, but it looks like they're cranking them a little bit more. All right. All right, one more easy ME. Spell that. Bub. Devil. All right. Lyrics. Bohemian Rhapsody. I've covered this one before, but I don't think I covered this particular one before. Lyrics. The one I covered last time. Let's see, is really jumping around. All right, so it used to be for me, Mama just killed a man, put a gun against his head, pulled the trigger, now he's dead. Mama, life had just begun. So it goes like that. Oh, so me, it was the trigger. Pulled the trigger, now he's dead. All right, so that was my old ME. Now this one, That one's kind of subtle because my trigger, the trigger, it kind of flies by real quick. But where was that one? Wait, where is that one? Where is that one? Here. All right, this one. All right, so they go through this very difficult bunch of singing over here that will kill your voice if you sing it too much. Then you go, Mamma mia, let me go. Beelzebub has a devil for me, for me, for me. So what was here? Beelzebub has a devil. For me, it was Beelzebub has a devil for a friend. For me, for me, for me. Here, it's Beelzebub has a devil put aside for me. I don't know if you guys remember a friend, but I am absolutely... This one, actually, just a few months ago, I was kind of working on memorizing. It was still a friend. Beelzebub has a devil for a friend for me. Now it says a devil put aside. A little bit more positive. I guess I'd rather have a devil put aside than a devil for a friend. Anyway, that one, I just heard that on the radio like yesterday. I'm like, devil what? It was absolutely devil for a friend for me. That's all I have to say. And that is my last ME. So in this timeline, we have a devil put aside. Go back to the recording. Yeah, the recording says put aside, but I know it was for a friend. I never even heard put aside ever. Just the radio recording, the original recordings, the lyrics all say it was put aside, which sounds nothing like for a friend. So it's not like you'd hear it and mistakenly think it was for a friend, because put aside is completely different. I mean, some of these ones that come on and people wonder if they're Emmys, and they sound so close, you go, oh, you could make a mistake. But a friend is not put aside. And if you type it in, devil for a friend, you can't find anything. I'm not finding that version at all. I thought it was pull the trigger, now I'm Ned. See, now that is an example of something where you could have always been wrong. But you can't you can't hear for a friend when it's put aside. There's no way. Pull the trigger, now I'm Ned. Simon King is the optimist. You are not dead, you are Ned. I think I like your version better. I don't think we knew the words that good, but that's the sound I remember. I remember things by sound. Which one is it? The put aside or for a friend? You remember. Maria remembers put aside. The devil for a son. You know, for a son actually does. That. You know what? I do remember that a long time ago. That's interesting. I wonder if that was for a son a long time ago, and then it was for a friend. Last time I was studying it, it was for a friend. There's a couple of MEs like that. What was it? One of those Madonna songs. It changed a couple times. I can't remember what song it was, but there's one word that's changed a couple times. It's sort of like the thinker, you know. First it was here, then it was here, now it's here. So you know what? I do remember it being had a devil for a son. Way back, before it was for a friend. Devil for a disciple. I definitely never heard that one. It'd be hard to squeeze that in. There's a lot of syllables. It was friend. Interesting. So we got devil for a son. Yeah, I do. Miss Chrome Sticks remembers for a son, and I do remember that way back. Do remember that. Now, it was a friend last time I was studying it. The trigger, yep. Oh, you know, there was one somebody mentioned. Ah, where did I didn't even credit them. Ah, there's one more I had forgotten. Tijuana. Tijuana, I remember it. They mentioned this. This is interesting because here it is, Tijuana tattoo, Tijuana bar, Instituto de Tijuana. But when I was looking at it lately, I've never seen this spelling until recently. Tijuana. It seems like Tijuana is getting kicked out. I don't know how these... you know, I just can't see how suddenly they just started to say it's Tijuana. But, that's how they've been spelling it. Tijuana. Since I was recently down there. Tijuana City in Mexico. Why is it no longer Tijuana? Now it's like either or, but I've never seen that spelling until recently. Tijuana. Somehow I missed that. Somebody mentioned that somewhere. Where did they mention it? Some comment on my channel. I'm sorry I didn't give credit to it. See, a lot of the restaurants are called, still called Tijuana. But now the maps and stuff are all calling it Tijuana. Why change it? It was always bugs. It's always Tijuana. It was always Tijuana. Tijuana Tilly's Institute de Tijuana. But then when the map function is calling it Tijuana. That's something to keep an eye on. Tijuana, Baja California. And then my map function on my phone, everywhere, it was Tijuana. So, kind of weird. I don't know if that one's going to change. It's sort of like how Coronado Island is not an island anymore. That's a nearby island to me. Now it's not an island, but a lot of the restaurants still say Coronado Island, you know, cafe and stuff. So they're all still calling it an island. I don't know. I don't know if that Tijuana thing's gonna map out, but it's suspicious. Tijuana, yeah, it's pronounced Tijuana, but now it looks like it's Tijuana. Maybe it's a combine thing where two timelines merged, but it looks like Tijuana kind of won for the official spelling, but then all these restaurants and everything are all still Tijuana. It's kind of weird. I mean, why are all the restaurants different than the map function? Emmy makes me feel disconnected to the world, so to speak. Maybe it's a good thing. Jonard Games. Yeah, maybe. I definitely worry less about the storylines on the news. You know, all this doom and gloom. I'm like, you know, that whole storyline was different 3 years ago, and that didn't happen. So it's hard for me to get all sucked into it. And any minute now, we're going to be past the point of no return, and blah, 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 blah. I'm like, no, I've seen too many other storylines with that same thing. It just feels less and less real, definitely. I've never actually heard of Tijuana. Interesting. That's always how it was for me. Alright, anyway, it's 1:56, so, do you remember the Yan and Huang heads in China? No, I've never heard of them. Never heard of them. I remember yin and yang. Now it's yin and yang. I did not discover that one, though. The McDonald's sign looks different. I noticed the black McDonald's are taking off. Somebody mentioned that in another channel. McDonald's Logopedia. Let's see the official stories. I've seen a lot of really flat rainbows. This kind of reminds me of it. All right, images. What's the history of the logo? A lot of the McDonald's now are painted like black, dark brown. The hex. Well, I wasn't born then, so I shouldn't have seen that. I don't remember ever seeing this one with the McDonald's through the two of the forks. I don't remember seeing that one. I should have seen this. This is when I was growing up, but I do not recognize these two. This one, I really remember it being flat and maybe a little bit less arched. I don't remember them being like lifted. I think somebody brought that up as an ME a few years ago, and it was kind of subtle. Actually, the current one is more subtle, but I actually also don't remember them being so much difference in thickness. But again, it's subtle. I couldn't, that's not an ME, I'd swear to. Anyways. Yeah, there's a lot of these black ones now. Suddenly kind of, I don't know, it seems like I never catch them while they're painting them either. So I could say that they just painted them, but images. McDonald's store. Let's just see what the stores are looking like these days. Yeah, like this one. Ugh, tiny, but yeah, black and yellow seems to be the thing. Here's another one. Seems to be the thing. Something's a little weird about the arch, though. I don't know. It just look more pinched at the top. Somehow the shape's just a little different. This one looks more, maybe they're pinching him in tighter now. This one looks more like I remember it. Then you look at this one, it looks way more pinched. I don't know. There's another one of those black ones. I guess it's just an official color change, but I don't know. Sometimes you just wonder. I'm like, I never seem to catch them painting them. It does take at least a day to paint these things. Who knows? I don't know. I might be reaching, but sometimes you gotta just entertain interesting ideas. I try not to buy McDonald's. You haven't gone in there in eons. I actually went in there recently, and I guess, I don't know if the food got worse or I just got more picky, but I was getting a one of those little, a rock hit my windshield and I needed to get that windshield repaired. It was next to McDonald's, so I'm like, I'll just jump in here and get some chicken McNuggets. And they're terrible. They taste like nothing. Anyways, I don't know why. Did I used to like them? I don't know. I'm on live in 11 hours. Everybody stay awake till Skook's Strange World is live. Alright, anyway, it's time for me to hit the road, I think. Thank you, everybody, for the super chats. I'm looking on here to see. You know, earlier it had a spot for super chats. And it said you have no super chats or members. I think I actually have to log out of the classic studio and go back into the new beta studio in order to see super chats. And I think that's why I was able to see super chats that one time. I got stopped going when my daughter got too old for the play place. Yeah, it is kind of neat when your kid is tiny and they'll go and bop around on all that stuff and you can sit there and get like 5 minutes of quiet to eat your horrible food. It's like worth it. The play place is kind of genius, actually. When my niece was tiny, it was great taking her there, to be honest. Just like she's having fun and I'm enjoying her having fun without her bugging me. And she gets some exercise. All right, anyways, looks like it's about time. So, and again, thank you all. A lot of you had some stuff to add, as you often do. Somehow I talked for 2 hours, even though I only had half a page, so I appreciate it. Thank you all for coming. This is Eva signing off for Once Upon a Timeline.